I'd like to take the opportunity to call this night's meeting to order as everybody finds their seat. So this is the October 6th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. Could we please have the clerk call roll?
Mr. McLeister?
Present.
Mr. Dalpays?
Present.
Mr. Mahousen?
Present.
Mr. Sarah?
Present.
Mr. Volas?
All right, thank you so very much. A couple little housekeeping items. Of course, want to remind everybody to keep your cell phones on vibrate to minimize disruption. But another item that we were asked to kind of change the way that we conduct our meetings just to mirror the way that they are doing City Council and the ZBOMA meetings. So we will no longer be doing the roll call votes. We will just simply be doing a voice vote, just so everybody has a heads up as we progress through the meeting. So with that, I'd like to go into the item number 3 on our agenda, which would be the submittal of the September 1st, 2021 meeting minutes. And do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Delapaze. Do we have a second from anyone else?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So at this point, and I guess for a point of clarification, do I call the vote or do you still call the vote? I call the vote, right? Okay. Okay. At this point, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, the same sign. And I guess aye. I guess I was so excited I didn't say aye myself. I apologize.
I have to abstain.
You do have to abstain. We do have one abstention. So, all right, we will be moving into the public meeting portion of the agenda. So we are going to discuss item number 4, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 1133, single-family and two-family residential district regulations, specifically subsection 1133.08D, swimming pools, in Chapter 1707, swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs, specifically 1707.01B of the codified ordinances of the City of North Canton to lower the minimum required height of fencing for swimming pools to 4 feet. So at this point, we have our Clerk of Council, Mr. Young. Would you like to share with us what you have?
Hello. I'm here on behalf of City Council, who is sending this to you. It's really quite simple. We've had, over the past year or so, a number of people both complain and come to ZBOA about the current 5-foot regulation because, as Councilmember Soretta can attest, since he just bought one, they are much more expensive than a standard 4-foot fence. The sort of national code standard is also 4 feet for swimming pools to keep small children out. So we just want to lower it from 5 feet to 4 feet.
Great, thank you so very much. Do we have any questions or comments from members of the Planning Commission on item number 4 on our agenda?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I need some clarification here under subparagraph 2 for above-ground pools, that the height surrounding grade to the top of the pool may be used as a credit to meet the minimum 4-foot height requirement. So if I've got an above-ground pool with a 4-foot high sidewall, I don't need to put a fence around it? You're going to give me credit for 4 feet? Eliminating the requirement?
Yes. That requirement exists so the only thing we have changed is from 5 feet to 4 feet. So that paragraph there about giving credit currently exists in the code for the 5-foot fence. So if you had a 5-foot above ground pool, you wouldn't need an exterior fence.
I don't have a problem with the 5 to 4 feet. It's with the rest of that code the way it's written, but that's not for this discussion.
Well, I mean, you all are certainly empowered to make that recommendation that that amendment also be made. I'm just saying that's not, I have changed nothing about that paragraph in what we're bringing to you tonight other than the 4 to 5.
Okay.
So if you all want to make that recommendation, that is certainly up to you.
I have a major problem with that. And then secondly, under subparagraph 4, the living fence, I don't like this ordinance at all. We're going to regulate self-closing gates, obviously for safety reasons, but then let people plant arborvitae spaced 4 feet apart.
That's fair.
All I've got.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from members of the Planning Commission?
Question I have is, what's the organization that references what the standards should be on a national basis? Is that an opinion or is that a statement of fact by an organization?
This is from the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code, which is proliferated by the International Code Council. They are the sort of standard setters, and they are who we used for our recent property maintenance code. The Ohio Building Code is largely based off of regulations they proliferate. The Ohio Fire Code is largely based off of NFPA is one of their codes as well, National Fire
All
Protection.
right, thank you.
Does anybody else have any thoughts? All right, seeing none, although we do not have anybody joining us this evening, I will open up the floor for anybody who cares to say anything. Seeing none, any other final comments or questions? Do we have a motion on this item? Is there a problem with the stream? Marty was texting me. I don't know that he's able to hear us or see us. Okay. Any motion for this item?
To Mr. Mahousen's points, you can, make a motion that you send back Mr. Mahousen's recommendations.
And I think that's fair. If you have an item that you would like to tack in, that we would, if you wanted to make the motion with those provisions, the floor is yours.
I would make that motion. Again, I don't have the problem with the 5 feet to 4 feet. I just have my issue is with the exception, the credit, and subparagraph 4, with the living fence. I don't agree.
Just for clarification purposes, and I agree with you on the living fence portion, if we have a 4-foot-high pool, are you suggesting that a 4-foot-high fence needs to be on top of an above-ground pool?
No, I'm suggesting that you drop the credit. I mean, you're essentially putting an above-ground pool with a 4-foot sidewall with no fence around it whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay.
But I'm not saying above.
Oh, I
I'm not
see.
saying an
You
8-foot
still
fence.
it has to be on the ground somewhere.
Right, that entire pool has to be enclosed.
Okay. So like 3 feet out from the wall of the pool is the 4-foot fence.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't go to the detail of requiring self-closing and self-latching gates for safety. And then, I mean, it's like putting a screen door in a submarine.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, do you want to restate your motion, and maybe we can see if there's a second here on the floor?
Sure, I'll restate the motion to approve the change, modification from 5 feet to 4 feet, with those clarifications on removing the credit for the 4 feet and removing the living fence.
All right, Mr. Milhausen has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Motion passes. At this point, because I am impacted by item number 5, I'm going to step out in the hall and hand things over to Mr. Delapez.
Okay, item number 5. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of North Canton to reclassify 80 parcels in the city of North Canton in accordance with the amendment procedures set forth in Chapter 1182 of the Planning and Zoning Code in order to ensure that the current zoning more accurately reflects current uses, together with providing opportunities for future residents and businesses. And we have received an addendum to this item that has been provided by the council This is changes made from council from the original draft that we received.
Yeah, so this item was initially sent to City Council from all of you under the new zoning code change provisions enacted earlier this year. If council makes any major changes, which I would definitely argue we have, we must send it back to you for your consideration again. So if you'll grant me leave, I will run very quickly through all the changes we've made, and please stop me and interject whenever we get to something you'd like more context on. So item A, in response to some property owners, we'd like to flip what you had initially suggested. So make the back half RMFB instead of making the front half RMFA, and that would match the zoning on the rest of the neighborhood. For item B, we had no changes. Item C, since I wrote this up for you and since the last council meeting, the property owner has formally requested that their property be withdrawn, so that will actually be cut entirely. D and E will be consolidated together. We did put a temporary hold on them. There was some confusion about who owned it, but we have confirmed that it is the church's property and not Mr. Kidder's. F, no changes. There is a Dominion gas line, but us changing the zoning will not change whether or not you can build on top of the gas line. Same for G. H and I consolidated together. J, K, and L consolidated together into one. M cut as it was already rezoned with the new Main Street zoning from earlier this year. N, no changes. O, no changes. P, cut. It should remain as it is currently zoned instead of being changed. Q, no changes. R, we cut. This is a parcel in the back of the Washington Square development, and part of it is currently a retention basin. We were concerned if council was concerned if we changed the zoning from P&I to general business, there may be an attempt to develop, which might cause drainage problems for the surrounding area. S, no changes. T, no changes. The president of council has lifted the hold he had requested on that item. U, no changes. V, no changes. W, there were just two typographical errors in the numbering. The parcel number and the lot number were incorrect. X, the owners have requested this be cut, and I concur. It is a single-family home and should not be rezoned to general business. Y, due to some confusion regarding where to put condo associations, since they don't really fit perfectly into any of our current zoning districts, council would rather cut them out for now and potentially bring back creating a specific district for condo associations. Z, no changes. Double A, no changes. Double B, no changes. Double C, no changes. Double D, no changes. E, and FF, consolidate them, make them all be going to GBA, and add that one parcel, which is American Tire on the far west side. GG, no changes. HH, consolidate with NN. II, no changes. JJ, no changes. KK should be cut and remain as it is. Again, this is a single-family home that we want to stay a single-family home. LL, consolidate with JJ. MM, no changes. Double O through W and double W can all be condensed together. They are quite a number of parcels around the Akron Children's Facility that are all becoming GBA, I believe. Might be GBB, but I do believe it's GBA. So they can all be consolidated into one change instead of each parcel being its own change. VV, no changes. XX, no changes. YY are 3 RF2 lots owned by St. Paul's Church, and they have requested that those be removed. ZZ, no changes. AAA, no changes. Triple B, no changes. And finally, Triple C is the city's water tower and was already rezoned by the new Main Street zoning. So we are requesting that be removed. Any questions I can answer?
Any questions from the Planning Commission? I was looking through a couple items here, but if anybody else has any questions, feel free to go ahead.
I believe the ordinance draft in your packet is with these changes already made.
I'll make a motion to approve the zoning map changes to the 80 parcels.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments before we vote from anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. At this time, I think Mr. McLeister can come back in.
All right, I come back for the easiest part of the evening. At this point, I don't think I see anything else on our agenda, so I would entertain for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.